Alright folks, welcome to another AmuLIT League. I made a couple of changes from the list that we just played. Nothing too crazy though, we just added the Bojuka Bog to the main deck in place of the second copy of Turn Timber, and I added a Radiant Fountain to the sideboard in place of the Bojuka Bog. We played against Dredge twice, and honestly Dredge seems like it could be pretty well positioned right now, so probably makes sense to have a Bog in the main deck. When it's bad though, but it's okay. Perfect hand. Don't mind if I do. Thanks for making you lose your trophy. Wow, you're welcome. If it makes you happier, I didn't trophy either. So if you think about it, it was because of you that I didn't trophy, you should say. I think this is an easy Summoner's Pact here. Unless my opponent has another discard spell. If they have another discard spell, then Azusa is the better pick. If they don't have another discard spell, then they should definitely take the Summoner's Pact here. And we're 1 mana off of casting the Titan on turn 2. Yeah, opponent final figure out. It's a great draw, actually. Play Azusa. There's no reason to play Grazer as long as we have an AmuLIT in play, so I'm just gonna do this. This gives me more information as to what I want to be doing. Although I guess now I can make my opponent's discard spell better, but they shouldn't have a discard spell because... they shouldn't have a discard spell because otherwise it would have been better for them to take the Azusa, so... I'm assuming no discard. Do you think it's unreasonable agree to go down to 3 forests? I don't know. Thoughts is to take my Grazer? Yeah, I'm okay with that. So I played out my entire hand because I'm gonna play around Liliana. I don't know what my opponent's doing. I'm not sure whether they're playing K-Command or not, so I'm not playing around K-Command, but I think I definitely want to play around Lily. How goes the Boomer Amulet? The Boomer Amulet is going pretty well, MacFest. Turns out my opponent did have the K command, so it would have been better for me to hold the forest, but now we know, right? We could have very easily played around this, but the problem is if my opponent does play the Liliana, then we're discarding a forest for no reason, and we're a little bit further away from triggering Valakut. Got me. Why would they kill Azusa instead of dealing with my AmuLIT? That doesn't make too much sense. What's up, Winred? Okay. Guess the point actually had both of them. Blood braid. What's this? Inquisition revealed. Resolves. So now if we draw a Tolari West or we draw a Primeval Titan, we're gonna win this game fairly easily. Why not 4 Dryad? Because there's no need for 4 Dryads, basically. Why don't you just get the 5-0 and AmuLIT will never 5-0 again? They said Dredge was a good matchup, bros. Yeah. I'm gonna stop decking better than I am. A lot better than I am. If we draw a Titan, we win. I think I'm okay cutting it back because of Ashiok. Wow, we had an insane amount of good draws. Command was a good draw. We had 7, we had 10 wins that just 10 draws to just win the game on the spot. I'm cutting it back here because of Ashiok, by the way, in case you're wondering. It's the last cut. I think that's the last cut. This sideboard is nostalgic, so true. So true. That's an amazing draw. They can Fulminator me. That would kind of suck. Their Liliana doesn't do anything. Prime time. Tasty. Very tasty. Very, very, very tasty. Absolutely delightful. Just gonna pass the turn here. I'm gonna crack Clune instead. I think this Explosives is doing a lot of work just being in play. So I have no interest in cracking it. I'm happy taking some damage from this go if it means that my opponent can't do anything. It's kind of awkward. It's probably worth it though. It taps me out, but which means I am guaranteed to take some more damage, but then we can just win on the other hand, so just waiting sounds good. Colony Garden and Tulare West. Can you explain why Cunning Hornet Q when it's a hard threat for Jund to fully clear? Because the matchups that you lose against Jund very often involve your opponent interacting with your lands and never letting you get to Titan mana. And if you do get to a point where you have 7 mana, you'd always rather Prime Time than Hornet Queen. With 3 explosives, I think we have a reasonable amount of answers to Ashiok, including Primal Command as well. So even though Hornet Queen is a nice to have kind of card, it's a card that if you naturally draw it more often than not, particularly on the early game, it's gonna be a little bit of a liability. This hand looks interesting to me. Lots of ways that we can go about this hand. Ren would kind of suck, but everything else we're kind of okay with. These are not good draws. I think I'm backed in for Azusa if my opponent lets me. Let me rephrase. I am backed in for Azusa if my opponent lets me. La liga anterior perdimos por el 5-0, Rafus. Mi oponente jugando Dredge tuvo turno 2 Blood Moon. Maelstrom pulls my Kalni tokens. Maelstrom pulls your Kalni tokens is the line. I think I'm fine getting hit by Boil here. Like, it obviously sucks, but the upside of not having to pact is just amazing. This has to be Boil or Bloodbraid. Liliana. Sure. So my opponent shocked for this, so I'm assuming that they're holding up Lightning Bolt. So I'm not gonna pact for Asusa because we get blown out. So just gonna chill here. Next turn we have basically double Titan. We can also pact for Baloth if my opponent pluses. The thing is that the Baloth doesn't line up well against the Goifo, so I'm just gonna discard this Misty Rainforest, I think. As long as my opponent doesn't have exactly Ashiok right now, we should be in okay shape. That's kind of annoying. But at the same time, it's just kind of fine. We're taking a lot of damage from this Goifo. No plus on Lily. So that makes me think that my opponent wants to set up lethal. So we're gonna bog them and Valakut them. Bog them or bog myself? I guess bogging myself makes the Goif even smaller, so no packs to pay for, which puts us in an okay spot. I think my opponent's gonna bolt me my face on end step, okay? But if we untap, we're just gonna win, so definitely blocking this Goif. Ravine doesn't do it. Yeah, I don't like my opponent not plus in there. We're blocking here. My opponent's gonna bold the prime time. That's fine. That's okay. Ashiok here is brutal. Actually not. We have Valakut plus Dryad, so Ashiok doesn't do shit. One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, this is just very, very lethal. Pressing the M button. It's weird. Oh, John Doe. Yeah, my opponent lost to not plussing the Liliana. If they had plus Lily, they minus, they grow the Goif to a 7. I guess it would be a 5. So that would be 5. Plus a bolt, yeah. No, they didn't. They purposely did not. I think that the last card in hand was another lightning bolt. So they were trying to set up a situation where they like triple bolt me to death, and they just didn't work out because, well, because this guy. Interesting game though. Interesting game. Love to see Vestige in the list. Yeah, I mean Vestige is pretty important if you're choosing to play. If you're choosing to play Vodos, the Slayer Stronghold and the Sun Home package, because it allows you to Dryad and still get Valaka triggers, which is obviously pretty important, and you get to haste. Where do we bottom here? We're not bottoming amulets, but I don't want to bottom lands either. So I think I'm just bottoming the Gracer. Yeah, so we beat up on the Fair Magic player. We did that. Just out here playing the one-drop artifact mirror match. Definitely an argument for getting engineered explosives there, but well, that guy's fucked up. That's like real fucked up. Wow. Just got so got. So got. I lose to Flicker Wisp here, but I think that it's worth it because I don't think we're going to be able to play around Wisp forever. So I'm just conceding to the Wisp right now, yeah. Wait for them to target my land, pack it in. Because the problem is, if I don't do that there, then on the following turn, my opponent, like, they do the same thing, and now I'm taking 5 in the air. Like, it just keeps getting worse and worse for me. So I think that just choosing that spot to just go for it. Just take my losses. Gracer is okay, but it's just bad at the same time. Queen stabilizes in the air, but a little bit too expensive. I rather have my stuff that gets me to the later game. This hand is slow, but I'm gonna see if my opponent exposes another vial, and I'm probably just gonna be playing and cracking these explosives. Change of plans. Okay, we're gonna be cracking explosives anyway, I guess. Has anyone mentioned how helpful it was that we can hear mouse clicks? What do you mean, MacFast? What do you mean that it's helpful? Being able to hear when you click makes follow your actions and moves way easier. It's kind of random and awesome. If it works for you, that's sweet. We're looking kind of fine here. My opponent's gonna be forced to field next turn, but like they don't really have. They can get a Batter Skull, they can get a Maul into play or whatever. It's not even that big of a deal. Okay, that one is a big deal. Well, that escalated quickly. CMOCR1, thank you for the follow. What do you got from me, top of the deck? What do you got from me, top 4 cards of the deck? Hook me up, please. Not bad. Not bad. I think I'm gonna crack a clue first, because if I find a force, I can just blow this up. We don't, so I'm just gonna play a Bailoff, but we're probably not in great shape here. Drabius SM, thank you for the follow. What decks in particular do you think Karn is good for? This. This, any Blood Moon deck that is not specifically the... Shit. Any deck that's not specifically Prowess. What else? Eldrasitron or Normaltron. The good thing is if at any point we had drawn Explosive, we would have won this game fairly easily, but... we got. Yeah, but those decks are not really a thing anymore. Sodex's been trying, but I don't know how good they actually are. No, that's a very common misconception. People think that Taxes is a very bad matchup for us, but that's just not true. My win percentage against Taxes is actually pretty high, but in Mind Sensor is a bad matchup for AmuLIT. Weird hand. I'm kind of into it though. So yeah. Taxes is an okay matchup. Like it's very reliant. It's very reliant on your opponent's hand, particularly post board. Things get so much better for Titan that. So it has a lot to do with the Taxes players' draw. If their draw is like they are just looking for very specific cards. Aether Vial and Flicker Wisp and Leonin Arbiter are the cards that they are looking for. If they don't find those cards, Mind Sensor, I guess it's another example. If they don't find those cards, it's fairly easy for AmuLIT to win, unless again, like it's very luck based. Basically, it's a way to put it. It depends on how how both draws line up against each other. Like Archon is not that big of a deal. Like we're playing AmuLIT of Vigor, right? Like it's not that bad. But when just like we had in game 1, when we are drawing 2 Summoner's packs instead of drawing just a freaking Primeval Titan, obviously like like that card specifically lines up very well. It's fairly easy to play around, but if you get got, you get got, you know? So we're probably playing against Storm here. We're gonna be transmuting, that's the easy part. I think I'm gonna transmute for Cavern of Souls. Yeah, in fact, I think that Mind Sensor is harder to beat than the other guy. Attacking in the air, as we just saw, was extremely important, and not only attacking in the air, but also a matter of it clocks in the air, and at the same time, it is just tough to get. It's tougher to get explosives up to 3 than explosives up to 2. AmuLIT's only bad matchup is Blood Moon. Blood Moon and Mind Sensor and Ashiok. Storm also is not a great matchup, but hopefully you get on top here, for example. Yeah, Infect to... But Infect is weird. Like, Infect has pretty much disappeared. I don't know why. Stop wrong and think about that follow. Why has Infect disappeared? Does anybody know why Infect disappeared? So they went for the standard pile, and I think I want to try to bottleneck them on mana. Okay, good for me for being correct. But I guess it's not going to matter. They just had infinite mana anyway, so... Yeah, that's my point. Like, Hammer just seems like it's a better version of the Infect deck, so... Member Pact Cavern. too much 1 mana than a black removal right now. Really? Do you think any smallpox deck have a place in Modern? Everything has a place in Modern. That's why Modern is awesome. Smallpox is just not playable though. Having a place, not the same as playable. Rococo, thank you for the follow. So our best draw here would be Asusa. Asusa is the best draw. Another bounce land is not terrible. I don't think my opponent's playing Blood Moons, so I can probably YOLO here. So we go get Asusa, and because we drew another bounce land, we're actually able to do this right here. And we even get to transmute, which is nice. We're gonna get a blue pact here. Eight rack isn't bad right now. I mean, go ahead and play 8 rack. If it makes you happy, you can just go ahead and play 8 rack. I don't think you're gonna be doing a lot of winning, but it's fun. Like, if that's what you're into, it's a fun deck. I never thought it was a good deck. 1, 2, 3. This hand certainly worked out. It's been a while since I transmuted for a Pact of Negation against Storm. This is kind of exciting. This is 7, 8, 9, so we can pay for all the pacts. Yep, sounds about right. AmuLIT doing AmuLIT things, yep. Feels AmuLIT, man. Feels AmuLIT, man. Desperate Ritual. I guess I have to let this resolve. There's still there's a very, very slim chance that my opponent is actually playing Blood Moon. And if that's the case, then we lose to it. If I packed the Boral, they can just go Ritual into Blood Moon, so. Past in Flames. Okay. Now they don't have any more mana, right? Because they played their land. So once we let that resolve, we packed whatever they play off of it. Then there's nothing they can do. Hey, see, we resolved the Titan with backup. Yep. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Opponent sees the writing on the wall. The reason I'm bringing in Sage is because of Arya. Maybe I should just cut it though. I don't think they have Moon. I guess they could have Moon. Not knowing, not having perfect information about the sideboard configuration, the sideboard slots is just kind of brutal in this matchup specifically. This hand's kind of nice. Holding onto the bounce line in case I draw an amulet. Nice little dismember action. Opponent digging for them land drops. Expecting this dismember to do some wonders. Just kind of nothing I want to transmute for right now. Not until I have more information. Maybe a cavern? Also, I should have played Semi-Growth Chamber there. That was a mistake. Because next turn I can't do everything. Like I can't, unless I find an untapped land, I can't transmute plus dismember. I can't do both. Definitely hoping to find an Azusa or a Dryad here. Either of those is going to be great. Can't actually do that. Next turn we have a Pact available to us, which is nice. Definitely nice. 4 mana. Main phase gifts and given. So now we can transmute for Vajuka Bog. Doesn't strike me as a bad idea. I think I like transmute for Bog. Explore is not free when I have a dismember in my hand. Yeah, I'm not willing to put dismember down here. fine. We could pact for Titan here, or we can explore and just bounce on replay with Jukebog, still holding up Valakut. So now that we've been both of this, like much more old AmuLIT. Yeah, exactly. Same here. Well, now that we don't have to pact for it, this is a lot better, obviously. Vesuva to copy Bog and Radium Fountain? Just a random fountain. I could also Bordos Garrison. Kind of want to get another T-West as well. Tons of options here. Balakut is also defensible since we already have a Dryad in hand. Deep Fountain. To protect against a random assortment of grape shot triggers. Brave plus Bold resolves. Not bad. Oh, that's right. Still got a land drop left. Let's play this. I think we're in fine shape. Unless my opponent is indeed playing Blood Moon. Unless this deck have counterplay versus Storm. You're seeing it right now. That's what sideboards are for. Not to say that it's a good matchup. I don't think that's the case, but you definitely get to fight the better fight. Opponent did keep a card on top, so we're gonna see what that card is. Splicing Rituals. Nice and easy. Just living that AmuLIT life. Just living that AmuLIT life. Feels good to be back, man. I just gotta say that. Feels good to be back. Feels very good to be back. Opponent keeps 7. His hand seems a little bit lackluster. This hand is a lot spikier. And this is the best hand we've seen so far, so let's keep this one. Bottom one of the pacts and Slayer Stronghold. Let's see what we're up against. How is AmuLIT positioned against Heliod Company? Horribly. It's a bad matchup. Very, very bad matchup. Very, very bad matchup. You need many things to not work out for them and many things to work out for yourself as well. Far from unwinnable, right? It's Magic after all, but it's not a good matchup. We're playing against Storm again. We face him back-to-back Storm. Okay, that's not Storm. Oh, Blue-Red Prowess. Okay. Sucks. So it is a race then. It is a race. Would Mystical Repeal help against Heliod, or is it too conditional? I am not excited about playing blue cards in my deck. That's the main problem. Blue cards tend to not work very well in AmuLIT. Because the mana is bad. How is the Blue-Red Prowess matchup? Slightly unfavorable. Depends a lot on their draw. This move to 5, like I'm really feeling the lack of stuff, right? If I had more raw materials, I could work with this a lot better. Like I could E for 2 to get rid of this Sprite Dragon, right? Like it would be a lot more manageable. But unfortunately, I'm lacking stuff. I'm lacking things that I can use my mana on. I have to assume that I'm dead here, right? I think I'm passing the turn. I could pact for Azusa and hope to draw exactly bounce land, but if I draw exactly bounce land, then this seems better to me. Paper snag my plant, okay. Light up the stage. Light up again. Oh, just bolt. Okay. Blue-Red Prowess. Blue-Red Prowess. I think it's between this and this. I think I want a 1-1 split as opposed to 2 Baloths or something else. Okay. Sand has a plan. It loses to Blood Moon, but most of our hands lose to Blood Moon, so Spear is good for them. Bounce land would be fine. Dryad is very interesting. Am I killing the Swift Spear or not? I think I am. And if you're killing Swift Spears against Prowess, you want to do it main phase, because if you do it during combat, then your opponent gets the they get the possibility of casting light up the stage. So we just have to find lands here. Can we draw land? Bounce land would be great. Not quite. I am aiming, like, I can't beat Blood Moon, right? So I'm not playing around it. And I mean, not that I could anyway. But if I draw any land, I can potentially, particularly if it's a bounce land, I can win thanks to Dryad. So playing the deck for so long, do you think there still exists undiscovered tech in the modern card pool? It's possible. It's possible. There's also like random cards, right? Like there are still things like Chameleon Colossus and cards like that which have very, very specific uses. They are not particularly flexible, but they are like whenever that's the tool that you need, it's definitely nice that you can have access to that kind of tool. Right, so we need to find the bounce land right here. If we find the bounce land, I think we are gonna win, or we're gonna stabilize at least. Bounce land. Brutal. So now we're just gonna lose. It doesn't help, right? Like I could have played Dryad last turn, but then we wouldn't have had enough untapped sources, and I don't think that our Dryad would have survived anyway. They have Vapor Snag, and they show me that card. So if my opponent has nothing, yeah, we just need to draw like any land basically would have. I guess any land wouldn't have done it. It needed to be exactly balanced land. That's lethal. Okay. Okay. Lost to not drawing lands. Classic. A tale as old as time itself. Since you can play all the colors in Titan Vicious. I would say yeah to those questions. Yeah, I mean, but the fact that you can doesn't mean that you should. Like, you can splash for other cards. You can splash for white, you can splash for black, and you can splash for red for sure, but there's a kind of a massive cost to doing that. And I think that people very, very often undervalue how high that cost is. People very often think that you can just jam a couple of lands in there and oh sweet, yeah, we're good. Like our mana is gonna figure out itself, and that's just not true. That's just not how it works out. Oh boy, this hand is greedy, but it also is so great. How do you feel about Primal Command? I haven't cast it yet, but it would have been good in multiple scenarios already. This hand is good. So I think I'm going to assume that I'm not playing against an aggressive deck. And then we can go turn 1 T-West, turn 2 basic forest, play another T-West, or Gruul Turf. My opponent is playing a discard spell deck, and they discard my Explorer. We can Gruul Turf, Stomping Ground, into Search for Tomorrow. This is a deck that we haven't seen in a while. This is certainly a deck that we haven't seen in a minute. I think we're just gonna Azusa here. So we bog my opponent first because you want to get the land that has a trigger out of your hand first in case my opponent has a lightning bolt. Then we're just gonna do this. And now this coming turn we can Dryad plus Transmute for Pact in the same turn. Because the Dryad fixes her mana. Primal Command would also slap right now. So if my opponent has the prime time, that would suck. Though I guess they can't kill my Dryad. They would be able to kill my Azusa though. Scape Shift doesn't kill me either. Anger plus Bolt. Okay. If I do double bounce land here, next turn I can pay for Pact and play the Dryad. We use the fetch land. Like I really wish that we had access to a fetch land here. That would limit my opponent options, but Pact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flexter Morgan, thank you for that follow. How were the Reclaimer lists with Failure Retreat? Couple steps below AmuLIT. Yeah, it's definitely hit, obviously. I don't think anybody would be surprised if I told them that things have gotten a lot worse for Reclaimer. But I think that there's a lot of tuning to be done, Freed. Any thoughts on the new command? Yeah, those are not playable Magic cards. Let me rephrase, those are not modern playable Magic cards. Sand's not very good. Sand is better. I think I'd rather get a little bit luckier and snap off a second bounce land or something like that than, yep. So good. Kitria Triumph. Definitely hoping for no Damping Sphere here, but now if we draw Azusa, we can Titan. Should probably be good enough to win. Mystical Layer Arts look hype though. Yeah. Reclamation Sage. Sure. Steve. So if my opponent has prime time here, we're obviously in bad shape. That's a mistake, by the way. You basically should never, ever, under any circumstances whatsoever, have 6 mountains in play if you don't have a Valakut. It's not going to matter, but it is strictly a mistake from my opponent there. There are no circumstances where you should be fetching for a mountain that does not trigger. Their Titan just kills us in attack, so we can't beat it. Is my opponent not playing Dryad? There's no way they're not playing Dryad. Is there a way that they're not playing Dryad? Because if they're not playing Dryad, I don't want Force. I mean, the cost of it is a greaser, so I'm not too upset about it anyway. This is too slow. Just kind of better. Why did you play Triumph over Thicket? I think it's for explosives in the sideboard. I think it's the explosives in the sideboard is a reasoning. We can transmute here. Don't think we want to though. Still don't know what we're looking for. They always seem to have Sphere, so Force is kind of nice. I'm not sure that they're playing Sphere anymore. We're about to find out. But even if it's only Sphere, I don't think I would be playing... I don't think I'd be playing Force against Sphere. I'm definitely playing Rex Sage. But I don't think I'm playing Force. I can't miss my land drop. That's just out of the question. So I'm trying to think whether I'm supposed to hold a Pact of Negation. I mean, I guess I can't hold Pact of Negation here, so I'm just gonna bounce in case I find like a Crumbling Vestige or something, or a Breeding Pool, and I can transmute this for a Titan. Rex Sage, Dryad. That answers my question about whether they were playing Dryad or not. What's up, Beefus? Farseek. Unfortunately, I have to take this. I have to take this stuff that doesn't kill me. But I'm going to kill the Gracer here. So the Dryad can start serving. Yep. They have a trigger though here. Brutal. Absolutely brutal here. That's a mistake from my opponent there. They seem to be new to the archetype because they're making a lot of mistakes. In terms of sequencing, in terms of like figuring out what their outs are, in terms of stuff like that. Just making a bunch of mistakes left and right. That one kills me. Yeah, that doesn't do it. We're not in good shape. So now any land kills me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even if I deal with the dry, any land kills me. And that's what I was saying about the Misty, right? Like if my opponent hadn't fetched for no reason, they would have won this game. But they fetched for literally no reason whatsoever. And they effectively missed lethal. Also, they didn't attack, which I don't understand why. This represents more mana being in my hand, so I'm just going to pass here. We're dead to anything, so yeah, that counts. That sucks. I feel like we got very, very unlucky there. It was even in terms of percentages, it is a lot more likely for us to have to find a Vesuva or one of the 8 remaining bounce lands than it is for us to find a blue source. We actually have more bounce lands than blue sources. So in terms of not only did we need the blue source in order to pay for the pact that we did cast, otherwise we would have died a turn earlier, but also even if we didn't have access to the pact, it would have still been correct for us to play the Tulare West because it would have been more likely for us to find a bounce land than a blue source. So rough league for sure. Rough league for sure. Let's take this for a spin again. Let's take this one for a spin again. But that's gonna be it for this league. See you in the next video. Like and subscribe.